Welcome back to the Real, Relevant, and Righteous podcast. My name is Alexandria. Let's get into it. So, it is about halfway throughout the year, and you probably still haven't seen your goals come to fruition, nor the word that God has given you come to pass. So, that just means you're not at your destination yet. So, today, I will be talking about detours. You know, when you're driving and the GPS tells you that there is an accident ahead. So it's giving you a different route. Sometimes the route is faster, but sometimes the route is the same ETA. But at least you will not have to go through the traffic. Remember that with the GPS, you already know where you're going and you have the route to get there. So I'll be using Genesis 37 to talk about Joseph. And we know the story of Joseph, so I'm not going to go throughout the whole story, but I'm going to show you the parts in his life where it was a detour. So in Genesis 37, Joseph was 17 when he began to dream, which caused his brothers to hate him. After this, there were many twists and turns in Joseph's life, and this is where his detour began. So after his brothers hated him, they sold him into slavery to the Ishmaelites, heading to Egypt. So in Genesis 37, verse 27 says, "Come and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh." And his brothers listened. Then Midianite traders passed by, so the brothers pulled Joseph up and lifted him out of the pit and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 shekels of silver, and they took Joseph to Egypt. So this just shows us the plan the brothers had to sell him, and they did for 20 shekels, which in today's day, 20 shekels, that's like $5. Imagine that. Anyways, let's get back on track. Now, verse 36. Now the Midianites had sold him in Egypt to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh and captain of the guard. Now Joseph is in slavery at Potiphar's house, and it looks nothing like the dreams he had. So in Genesis 39 verses 2 to 6, it says, "The Lord was with Joseph, and he was a successful man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and the Lord made all he did to prosper in his hand. Because of this, Joseph became an overseer of the house, and the Lord blessed the Egyptian house because Joseph was in it." This is showing us that in the detour, he was successful. Success doesn't just look like getting to your destination, but there are certain milestones in your life that are successful. And because of the proximity people have with you, they will be blessed too. So now with the success, here comes another detour from Potiphar's wife who wanted to sleep with Joseph. Joseph declined, and she decided to tell Potiphar that Joseph slept with her. So this caused Joseph not only to get a demotion, but to also be thrown in prison. In Genesis 39 verse 20, it says, "Then Joseph's master took him and put him into prison, a place where the king's prisoners were confined. And he was there in the prison." Verse 21 says, "But the Lord was with Joseph and showed him mercy. He gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison." Favor isn't confined to a place because our God is omnipresent. Favor is wherever God is. So it doesn't matter that Joseph was no longer in Potiphar's house. He's in prison now, but he still has favor. Although with your detour, you may not be at your destination yet, but favor is present. While Joseph was in prison, he interpreted dreams with the help of God. So Genesis 40 verse 8 says, "And they said to him, 'We each have a dream, and there is no interpreter of it.' So Joseph said to them, 'Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell them to me, please.'" So this part blessed me because we are beginning to see Joseph's development. Back in chapter 37, when he had his own dreams, he just told the dreams to his brothers and his father, and it was his father who said the interpretation. But now Joseph knows where his help comes from and knew God could help him with the interpretation. During Detours, we find new roads, we see new restaurants, we see new places that we didn't know existed. And Joseph unlocked a new gift where now he can interpret dreams with the help of God. So he started out as a dreamer, but now he's an interpreter as well. So Joseph told the men that he interpreted the dreams for to remember him and make mention of him to Pharaoh. But it wasn't until 2 years after the cupbearer remembered this when Pharaoh had a dream. So after the interpretation was given to Pharaoh from Joseph, Joseph was awarded. In chapter 41, verse 40, "You shall be over my house, and all my people shall be ruled according to your word. Only in regard to the throne will I be greater than you." Verse 46 of 41 says, "Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went throughout all the land of Egypt." So when this happened, Joseph was 30 years old. And when he first had the dreams of ruling, he was 17 years old. So it took 13 years for the dream to come to fruition. Now, this reminds me of Habakkuk 2 verse 3. "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it will speak, and it will not lie. Though it tarries, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry." Let me say that second part to you as an encouragement. Though it tarries, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. So in chapter 42, we see Joseph as a governor. The life of Joseph is encouraging to us to trust the detours. Joseph is saying, embrace the detours, right? God is not a man that he should lie, and his word cannot return to him void. Joseph's life is showing us that the detours put us in alignment for where we should be. The routes may look strange and unconventional, but it's where you need to be to get to your destination. Also, the detour is acceleration. If Joseph was not sold into slavery nor put in prison, it may have taken him more than 13 years to get to the promise. More than 13 years for the dream to come alive. And lastly, the detour is for your development. Along the way of the detour, when things happen, it's developing your character. Joseph was given opportunities to lead along the way, and all this was just practice for when he was governor. Now when he's given the position, because he was already ruling in other places, he knows what to do. He knows what to do. And it's all because of the detour, why he ended up in this situation and at this place. So I just want to say, wait on the Lord and be of good courage. The detour is not to hurt you. It might be annoying. You might get frustrated, but just embrace the detour and remember that the detour is for alignment, it's for acceleration, and it's for development. So this is the end of the episode. I hope that you will learn and pray to embrace the detour and to see what you should be learning along the way. So thank you for tuning in. Before I go, thanks to everyone that purchased their journals already. If you haven't purchased your journals and you would like to, the link will be below. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, let's keep it real, keep it relevant,